Good morning students, I am Shomajit sir. Today I am here to deliver my lecture on topic fertilization, zygote and embryo formation. So here the entire lecture so that you can get benefited out of it. I'll explain how fertilization takes place, how zygote formation takes place and how embryo formation takes place. I'll give you the differences between them. So here the entire lecture, stay at home and stay sane. So without any delay, so let's start with the topic fertilization, zygote and embryo formation in human beings. So let's start with the topic fertilization, zygote and embryo formation. So you can see how colorful diagram I have given. See, ovum is there and surrounding there are a few sperms. Only one sperm will be fusing with the ovum, clear? Sometimes simultaneously two sperm get fuses, so you get a twins, clear? So two child can be produced. So first is a fertilization where sperm and ovum there will be a fusion of sperm and ovum, then forms the zygote, then embryo, then fetus, and ultimately the baby will be formed. So this entire process will be discussed now. So here the entire lecture, it will be very interesting, and if you hear, you will truly get good marks and the basics will be clear. So let's move to the next slide. Now see, what is a fertilization? See, fertilization means when the male gametes, that is sperms, are deposited in the female body by the process called as sexual intercourse. Once the sperms are deposited in the vagina, they need to travel upwards to reach the egg that is released from ovaries and picked up by the fallopian tube. Clear? Since the sperm have a tail in it, isn't it? So it can swim. So it passes from the urogenital tract, clear, from the urethra, from the vagina to urethra, and it moves to the ovary, clear, in the fallopian tube, not the ovary. So from uterus, from the vagina, then uterus, it moves towards the fallopian tube, clear? Or it is also called oviduct. So when the sperm meets the egg, it needs to penetrate through the layers, so it is called fertilization. So both egg and sperm fertilize to form and diploid zygote. The zygote is 2n because sperms are haploid N and ovum or ova, that is N. So N and N, it will be 2n. So the zygote are diploid in nature, and we know that the gametes, that are sperm and ovum, are always haploid in nature. To keep the chromosome number constant, because we have 46 chromosome number in pairs, 23 pairs, isn't it? Now you can see the process. See the picture of a vagina, female reproductive tract has been given. The picture of a female reproductive tract has been given. That the ovary is shown. You can see the ovum, then fertilization, then fusion of egg and sperm, then zygote, then 2-cell, 4-cell, 8-cell, clear? So after zygote forms the embryo. So before formation of embryo, there are stages like morula, blastula, glastula. So we'll come to it. We'll see the difference also. Then blastocytes. So these all will see, clear? This entire process will be seen, clear? So after the fusion, the implantation is the process of attachment of the embryo to the uterine wall. The tissue between the growing embryo and the mother uterine wall forms the placenta. Then after the fusion and all, when the zygote will be implanted in the uterus, and the functions of the placenta is to provide nutrition to the embryo until its birth, clear? So the hormones like estrogen, progesterone both help in maintaining the placenta and fetus inside the uterus. The normal gestation period in human is like female. The normal gestation period of human, that is particularly female, is 38 weeks, which is about over 9 months, clear? So at the end of this, the uterine contraction begin under the influence of hormones. A major hormones that play the role in this is oxytocin. It affects the cervix and causes it to dilate to allow the baby to pass out outside the body of the mother. The umbilical cord with its blood vessels and placenta are also expelled along with the baby. So these are the embryo development. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 diagrams, figures have been given. These are all in sequence, clear. The first one is of 2 weeks development. Second one is the 3rd week, then 4th, then 5th, and clear. So first one is the 2nd week, then 3rd week, then 4th week, then 5th week, then 6th, then 7th, and then 8th week. So you can see the figure so nicely given, the zygote, clear, how it is being transformed, clear, into an embryo. So you can see how the changes are taking place in different weeks, clear. Organogenesis and all are taking place. That means development of organs are being seen visible. You can see previously in the 2nd week it was like a peanut shape, clear, in the round shape, whereas in the 8th week, that means in the 7th diagram, you can see of child, like in baby shape has came out with ears are there, eyes and all are there. So see, so drastic changes are taking place to the formation of organogenesis. So you can see I have given certain different embryos of fish, amphibia, reptile, birds and humans. You can see all look similar in the embryo stage. In the earlier stage, you can see all fishes, amphibia, reptiles, birds and human all look similar. You cannot distinguish which one is a mammal embryo, clear, which one is a mammal zygote and all. But as it progresses, it changes, clear. So this topic is also comes under evolutionary point of view, clear. So in the embryo, in the zygote stage, you can see all the infants like fish, offspring, amphibian, reptile, birds and humans all look similar. But as it progresses, as organogenesis takes place, the formation and development of organs takes place, it changes its shape and then it becomes distinguishable, so that we can distinct. Next, different stages in the development and its characteristics is like different stages are there. I have said after fertilization there comes zygote, then suddenly it doesn't comes embryo. Between zygote and embryo there are certain stage like morula, blastula, gastrula, clear. We'll talk about it. So what is zygote? Zygote is a unicellular fertilized ovum. And what is a morula? Morula is a multicellular hollow ball like phase, clear. And what is blastula? It is a one layered cell with blastocoil cavity. What is gastrula? It's a 3-layered phase. And next comes the first phase of embryo, that is in the 3rd week. Small pea like a live embryo is formed. Next, in the 5th week of embryo develops further, hard blood vessels appear. And in the 8th week of the embryo, now it looks like a human embryo, arms and legs comes out. And mature embryo, that is child, after 40 weeks fully developed fetus appears and the birth takes place. So I have already seen this figure. I have shown you this figure of 1st week, 2nd week, 3rd week, 4th week in the earlier slides. So these are the weeks. You can see these are the slides. You can see 2nd week, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th, clear. So what did I say? First is a fertilization. That means the gametes, that means the sperm and ovum fuses to form a zygote. Then after zygote comes the embryo. So in between zygote and embryo there forms morula, different stages like morula, blastula, gastrula comes, and then forms the embryo, and then ultimately fetus, and then after parturition and all it forms a baby, clear. See the human development is the embryogenesis. See, first is a zygote, then embryo, then fetus and then baby. Have you seen the gap between embryo and fetus? There comes morula, blastula and gastrula. So how we'll call first zygote, then embryo, then morula, then blastula, then gastrula, then fetus and then baby, clear. Next, prenatal development, zygote. So what is zygote? It is the what is zygote? It is the fertilized egg and enters 2-week period of rapid cell division and it develops into an embryo. And then what is embryo? The developing human organism from 2 weeks through 2nd month, clear. And what is fetus? A developing human organism from 9 weeks after the concept of conception of birth. Now, so nicely given, I have given so nice differences between zygote, embryo, fetus. You have to memorize this, you have to write it down in your copy. This is a very important difference. See, what is zygote? A zygote is formed by the fusion of male and female gamete, that is sperms and egg. And what is embryo? An embryo is formed by the repeated cell division of zygote. Understood? When the zygote undergoes repeated cell division, it forms an embryo. Next is fetus. What is a fetus? A fetus is formed by the growth and development of an embryo. Understood? So first forms zygote, then zygote undergo repeated cell division to form embryo, and then growth and development takes place in the embryo to form the fetus. Next, second point is a zygote is the beginning of the formation of the baby. And for embryo, an embryo is an unborn baby in the uterus in the early stage of development, that means up to 8 weeks after fertilization. So first is the fertilization, there forms the zygote till 8 weeks, that means 2 months. It is called, after till 2 weeks it's called zygote. So after 2 weeks forms the embryo. Understood? After 2 months, not 2 weeks. So after 8 weeks, that means 8 weeks is equal to 2 months. That is embryo. Clear? So that means, what did I say? First is zygote. So from zygote till 2 months, that means till 8 weeks, it is called embryo. Then comes the fetus. And what is fetus? A fetus is an unborn baby in the uterus in the later stage of the development after 8 weeks till birth. So first is the fertilization, then forms zygote. So from zygote till 2 months, that means equal to 8 weeks, it is called embryo. And from after second month, after the second month or after 8 weeks, it is called fetus till birth. Clear? So once the baby is taken out of the mother's womb, once the fetus is taken out of the mother's womb, then we'll call it as baby. Clear? So when the fetus is inside the mother's womb, we'll call it as fetus, we'll not call it as baby. So once the fetus is outside in the world, clear, outside from the mother's womb, we'll call it as baby. So the third point is a zygote is a single cell, it is smaller than a full stop. Clear? So zygote is always a single cell, it is so minute, you can see it's smaller than a full stop. And what is embryo? An embryo is a multicellular. Embryo is multicellular. Clear? Whereas zygote was a unicellular. And in embryo, the body features of growing baby in the embryo is not much developed. Whereas a fetus is also multicellular, but the body features of the developing baby like hands, legs, heads, eyes and ears, etc. can be identified. Clear? So first is the fertilization from zygote, that is a single cell stage, it is smaller than a full stop. Then from that till 2 months, that means till 8 weeks, it is called embryo. And from after 8 weeks, that means after second month till the parturition, it is called fetus. And after parturition, once the fetus is out of the mother's womb, we'll call it as baby. So you can see the difference between morula and blastula is given so nicely. I have given. See, morula is what is formed by zygotic division. Blastula, it is formed from morula by its division. And morula looks like a solid ball like cell mass, whereas blastula is a hollow ball of one cell layer. Whereas in morula, no cavity is formed in the morula, whereas in blastula, the fluid filled cavity called blastocoel. Clear? Next is in morula, it is formed of similar cells. Clear? Whereas in blastula, it is formed of outer nutritive layer, trophoblast, and an inner cell mass. Clear? So outer nutritive layer is called trophoblast and the inner layer is cell mass. Next, the differences between blastula and glastula. See, what is blastula? Blastula is formed from morula and glastula is formed from blastula. And blastula is one cell mass, whereas glastula is 3 cell mass. Next, blastula is formed by rapid mitotic division, whereas glastula is formed by slow mitotic division. Next, under blastula, the cells of the blastula is called blastoderm, whereas in glastula, the cell layer of blastula are called ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. Alright. So these are the differences between blastocyte and embryo, you will see it clear, very nicely given. Copy it down in a fair copy. So one more differences I have given between embryo, fetus, gamete and zygote, very nicely given. Say embryo is unicellular, whereas fetus is multicellular, gametes is unicellular and zygote is unicellular. So only fetus is multicellular, rest all embryo, then gamete, then zygote, all are unicellular. Next, you can see embryo, fetus and zygote are diploid in nature, whereas gamete is only haploid. So nice difference are given. You will not find this in your book, so copy it down in a copy. Next, like formed from zygote, like embryo is formed from zygote, fetus is formed from embryo, and gamete is formed by the meiosis of germ cells, and zygote is formed from the fusion of gametes. Clear? So nicely given. See, then for embryo, gastrulation occurs. For fetus, development of organ occurs. Like in gamete, meiosis and cytokinesis occur. In zygote, compaction and formation of blastula occur. So you'll see this, you will write it down in a copy and memorize it. Clear? So student, this will be your homework questions. You'll copy it down in a copy and solve the question. First question is, write the comparison between zygote, embryo and fetus. Just now I have discussed, you'll just copy it down. Define zygote, define embryo and define fetus. Next, third is, explain the process of fertilization in human beings. Fourth is, write the differences between the following. First is blastocytes and embryo, morula and blastula and glastula. All the answers are given in this video lecture, so watch the entire lecture, so it will be truly beneficial out of it. So thank you student, this was all about today's lecture. I have discussed about fertilization, zygote, embryo formation. I have also spoke about the differences. Clear? So stay at home, stay safe, copy down the notes, watch the video lecture, copy down the notes in your fair copy, study hard. So again, we'll meet in the next class. So thank you students.